Hey everyone, if this is your first talk with us, then welcome to the Product Marketing Festival. And for those of you that have already been tuning in, welcome back. We hope you will or have been enjoying what's going on, and we just want to take the opportunity to say thanks to all the sponsors and partners. And if you're not already signed up, don't forget to check out the Slack channel for lots more product marketing resources and discussion. Enjoy the talk.
Your customers are your best spokespeople, so you want to make sure your prospects hear what they have to say. After all, trusted endorsements can drive faster sales cycles and boost marketing conversions, which helps you unlock faster growth. But when it comes to going on the record, even your best customers can go silent, and who can blame them? Partnering on case studies is time-consuming, and it's painful to work through the legal approvals often required. Luckily, there's another way. With Tech Validate by SurveyMonkey, you can easily capture feedback from satisfied customers and transform it into powerful content, like verified case studies, testimonials, and reviews. Want charts that show ROI, cost savings, or competitive differentiation? You got it. With our platform, you'll quickly build an arsenal of highly targeted social proof points, segmented by industry, company size, or buyer persona. You'll get the tools to easily deploy your new customer evidence into top marketing channels and put it in front of your sales team to share with prospects. Plus, there's no need to wait for legal for approvals. With Tech Validate, your customers can opt to share their name or provide testimonials anonymously, with all customer evidence validated by a trusted third party. That's why hundreds of companies, big and small, use Tech Validate to get social proof at scale. Ready to see how it works? Watch our product tour today.
Hey everyone, welcome and thanks for being here. My name is Seon and I'm a product marketing lead from Dropbox, focusing specifically on our HelloSign business. For those of you that don't know, Dropbox acquired HelloSign in early 2019. Today, we're going to talk about product launches, specifically why product launches are important and what are some best practices when launching your products or features into the market. While Dropbox and HelloSign are SaaS businesses, many of the key best practices that we're going to talk about can be applied for physical product or service PMMs. All you need to do is take those concepts and tweak them for your business model. There is no one-size-fits-all launch playbook, so take what's relevant to you and use it in your next launch. Pretty simple. We're going to talk about why launches are relevant, pre-launch, and as I mentioned, what to do post-launch. So let's jump right in. Now, as product marketers, we're uniquely positioned to lead a broad cross-section of work streams in our organizations. This includes helping define product requirements, helping build a roadmap, thinking through how to enable a sales team, collecting feedback from customers, and even doing analysis on pricing and packaging. And while many of these work streams would normally be completely separate, the one time they all come together is for a product or a feature launch. And these launches are amazing opportunities for really two major reasons. Number one, as product marketers, launches give us a chance to build on many, if not all, of the core competencies that make an excellent product marketer, making them an invaluable source of experience for all PMMs. Second, it allows us to tell a story to the broader world. And it gives us a platform to share this message with customers, with prospects, even with our own employees and teams. Now, these moments don't come often, so it gives us a great opportunity to craft the narrative and the story to make this moment relevant, oftentimes impacting revenue or experience for our companies. Bottom line, if you get the chance to lead a launch or at least participate, take it. It's going to make you a much stronger product marketer in the long run. So now that we talked about why launches are awesome, let's get into some of the activities that you would do pre-launch. Now, these are usually things that happen prior to a product or service moving into early access or general availability, meaning you have time to plan, engineering and product teams are still working to build a product, and we still haven't quite defined when this is going to go live. Now, launches are really complex, and we don't have a ton of time today to go through each individual element in a launch. Instead, I've distilled our own unique launch framework here at HelloSign into 8 different buckets of activities. Now, these buckets are ordered loosely from foundational activities to late-stage activities. This is relevant because your foundational activities are the elements you use to define your late-stage activities. That is to say, if your foundational activities are wrong or weak, it's very difficult to have a successful launch. Very much like building a house, if the foundation is cracked or improperly done, the house is going to be unstable. The same is true for your launches. So let's spend a little bit of time focusing on the 4 major foundation elements of launches. And we're going to start with the problem statement. Now, I'm sure everyone here knows exactly what a problem statement is, but how do you make sure that problem statement is as powerful as it can be? Well, simply put, a great problem statement helps ensure your messaging, content, positioning resonates with your target customer. And to do that, we need to make sure that our problem statement doesn't only highlight the problem. It seems counterintuitive, right? But let's use an example here. Let's take Advil, an over-the-counter pain reliever. I'm sure everyone has either used it or has heard of it. Now, a poor problem statement would be, people don't like pain because it hurts. It's the problem that people have. Pain hurts. They don't like pain. Unfortunately, this doesn't really tell us anything about why pain is bad for the customer. Sure, it hurts, but what's the impact of that on the customer and on the things that they want to do? A good problem statement goes one step further from detailing the problem and talks about the impact to the customer and the impact on things they care about. So taking this one step further, people hate pain because it prevents them from doing the things they love. The next time you're watching TV, keep an eye out for those pain reliever ads. You'll notice they don't talk a lot about pain. They talk about what happens when you can't attend a baseball game, when you can't play with your kids in the yard, when you can't go rock climbing, when you have to slow your life down because pain is holding you back. Ultimately, that's the problem that Advil and other pain relievers are helping solve. They're helping people get back to doing the things they love. So the next time you're crafting your problem statement, make sure you include the impact that this problem has on the lives of your customers. Next, let's talk about target market. And often this is done in conjunction with the problem statement. It's very difficult to define a problem if you don't know who that problem impacts. So make sure you think of these two in parallel. They absolutely go hand in hand. Now, the key to nailing your target market is to be very specific. Too often, companies have very broad target markets. We are going to target individuals. We are going to target businesses. This is really difficult to put into practice. A weak target market definition lacks the information that teams require to hone that message and make it specific. For example, Advil targets adults with pain. While this is true, and this is a broad target market, it's very difficult to make this actionable. What types of adults are we targeting? Are we targeting an 18-year-old the same way we target a 65-year-old? Are we targeting single adults? Are we targeting married adults? Are we targeting parents? Are we targeting simple pain like headaches? Or are we targeting complex chronic pain? All of those are valid questions. So when you're defining your target market, get as specific as possible. We are targeting adults 45 years and above who have medium joint pain that prevents them from leading an active lifestyle. And you'll notice I added a TAM here. Now, these numbers are just illustrative. These aren't actually Advil's target markets, but it helps other folks within the companies understand how important this launch is. Launches with larger TAMs often are given precedence because there's a bigger chance for revenue coming from those launches. So make sure you add some market sizing in and try and define how much addressable market you are going after with these launches. The more specific you can be with your customer segments and potentially even personas further down the line, the more effective your content and your messaging is going to be with those target customer segments. So now we've nailed our problem statement. We've talked about our target market and we have a TAM. Let's chat a little bit about messaging and positioning. This is core to what every product marketer does. It's something that lives at the heart of product marketing. So it's important that we get it right. Now, a great messaging and positioning statement creates consistent language that the rest of the company can use when they talk about this product or feature that you're launching. It's something the demand generation team can use in paid advertising. It's something the sales team can use in conversations. It's something your executives can use when they're giving interviews or talking to investors or board members. And it's something your customer service or customer success teams can talk to customers about. Now, when you think about messaging, there are a couple do's and a couple don'ts. And none of this is really rocket science, but you kind of want to be intentional when you're thinking about messaging. For example, one thing to avoid, don't focus on features. Too often, we get really wrapped up in the cool technical things that we build, in the features in the product. But customers really don't care about features. They care about the benefit that comes from those features. They care about how those features are going to change their lives. So focus on those benefits. Focus on those changes. Don't talk about the features. Secondly, don't forget to link it to that pain and that problem statement you just spent a ton of time building. Stay away from marketing jargon. For the most part, customers want to be talked to as customers. They don't want to be marketed to. Finally, don't go over the top with your value props. You shouldn't have 10 different positioning statements. You should just have a few. Now, when you think about good things to do, one of the best things to keep in mind when defining messaging is making sure you have customer logos or quotes. Social proof is going to be one of the most powerful ways you can remind your customers that this is really going to help them. Customers listen to other customers much more than they listen to companies themselves. When you're crafting these statements, make sure you think about quantifiable ROI, right? Is this going to save me 10 hours? Is it going to save me $100? Is it going to save me 13 people? Think about those specific pain points and make sure you wrap it back to them. And finally, ensure that those benefits are supported by actual features within the product. The way you construct messaging is in something we call the messaging roof, which covers your basic messaging pillars, and that supports your halo statement and your positioning statement. There are plenty of resources when trying to think about how to build a messaging roof. One of the ones that we've used a lot at HelloSign is Atlassian's. It's great for SaaS, even better for self-service, and we found it works really, really well. Now, we've obviously taken that, combined it with Dropbox, and made it even better, but that's a great place to start if you have no idea how to begin building a messaging roof. Finally, let's talk about success metrics and goals. Every launch has to have them so you know if you did it right. However, most people are off when they try and come up with these. All too commonly, leaders and companies want to create revenue, they want adoption, and they want new customers, and they want them all at the same time from one single launch. And I can't stress enough how much of a bad idea that is. Each of these different goals has different tactics associated with it. And each of those tactics have different metrics. So make sure when you're defining your success criteria, pick one, maybe two of these, but ensure that you're focusing on a single one. For example, if we're going to go after revenue, tactics we're going to activate might be paid media, optimizing a purchase flow, ensuring we get pricing and packaging correct, and enabling our sales team. That's going to be completely different than trying to build customer adoption. Getting customer adoption often relies heavily on your support or customer success teams. You're going to use in-product prompts and notifications. You're going to email your existing customer base. It's people that you already know. Finally, new customers is even more different. Instead of doing paid media or customer awareness, you're probably going to spend a lot of time on optimizing that sign-up experience on the web. You're going to have to build viral loops so customers can share and invite other customers to your product. You want to make sure you have a solid trial flow and that people that try your product can get value quickly because they're not paying for it. All of these tactics are different. So make sure that when you're launching your product, you're very clear about what you want to achieve. Is it revenue? Is it increased adoption? Or is it new customers? Now that we've talked about pre-launch, let's shift a little bit and talk about post-launch. Your product or feature is out, it's available, you've pressed the button. Now what? Well, there's really three buckets here that I want to focus on: growth, feedback, and launch 2.0. All too commonly, companies think about growth in a month-over-month, quarter over quarter or year over year mindset. For product marketers, that's simply too long. You want to be thinking about growth in a day over day or a week over week mindset. And the reason for that is growth compounds very quickly when you think of it week over week. Think about 1% growth week over week. That gives you a 1.7x growth. If you can do 5% week over week, that's over 12x growth. That's huge. And if you're thinking about things in a month over month fashion, you've missed out on the opportunity to course correct and make micro adjustments to hit that 5, 6, 7% week over week growth. It's one of the things that we keep in mind at HelloSign, and I would strongly advise you do the same. Think about growth and success metrics on a week over week basis. Don't wait for a month or a quarter to measure and see where you are. Now, let's talk feedback. Feedback from customers, feedback from employees on the front lines. Feedback is super critical for your product and engineering teams. They've just spent weeks, months, maybe years building something. They want to know what the world thinks. So make sure you have the right mechanisms to solicit and capture that customer feedback. For smaller teams, it's doing things that don't scale, meeting one-on-one with customers, having Zoom conversations with implementation managers or with buyers to really understand what's going through their mind and how happy they are. For larger companies, it's focus groups and it's surveys, but it's making sure that data gets back to the product team so they can continue to iterate and get better and better and better. This also gives you your first set of insights on whether or not you nailed your positioning. Do customers find value? Does it resonate with them? Does it make sense? And finally, this is often where you find other areas your product can fit into. Customers are really smart, and they're going to leverage your product in ways you have no idea. Give them the ability to do that, but make sure you're there to capture if they're using it in a different way than was intended. You never know. You might stumble onto a new market, a giant use case, or a huge unmet need. But you're not going to get that if you're not listening. Finally, Launch 2.0. We talked about how awesome and important launches are. So it probably comes as no surprise that at the end of your first launch, you should already be thinking about your second launch. What are you going to launch? Is it new capabilities for the product? Is it an entirely new market segment? Is it a new approach or a new go-to-market motion? Think about what's coming next. Remember, launches give you a platform to say something to the world. They're one of your greatest tools to use as a product marketer. So you should always be thinking, what am I launching next and how am I going to launch it? That being said, random, sporadic, or shotgun style launches aren't going to create the change you want. You should strive to tie your launches or your launch moments together over a period of time, starting with maybe 6 months to a year. That way, you're telling a consistent, well-connected message to the market that resonates with buyers, as opposed to multiple different things targeted to different customers, causing a loss of focus and confusion in the market. I suggest always thinking about launches in one-year cycles. What's happening in Q1, Q2, Q3, and Q4, and how can you tie them together? Is there a central theme that brings your launches together? Maybe it's a common customer, maybe it's a common product, maybe it's a common market. Either way, tying those launches together are going to make them much more effective. It's going to create a situation where 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2, it equals 3, because these launches support and build on top of each other. So what did we cover today? Well, we talked about why launches are your secret weapon as a product marketer, and why whenever you get the chance, you should jump at it. We talked a little bit about the fundamental foundational pre-launch activities, things like a problem statement, specific target customers, building your messaging route, and defining your success metrics, things that are going to have a huge impact on your launch. And we wrapped up by talking about how to measure growth, the importance of gathering feedback from customers, and planning your subsequent launches. Bottom line, launches can be a huge asset for you and for your team. So it makes sense that you should be spending a ton of time thinking about how to do these well. Hopefully, you got some tools and tricks in my presentation today. You can take some of this back to your teams and improve your future launches. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you out there.